Hello everyone, welcome to the Wahsega 4-H Center. It's Wahsega Wednesdays again. I'm David Weber, the director here, and right now I'm in Ward Creek. This is a very popular place at Wahsega. Everyone that comes here loves to use it. Even the early settlers that came here, their last name was Ward, and they first came here to farm this fertile valley. And the big reason why they chose this location is because of this creek. It was a great source of clean drinking water. It's made the valley fertile. And when people come to Wahsega now, like students on school environmental education trips, they still use the creek. A lot of our classes here will use the creek in some way. And during free time, kids will love to get in and explore. In summer camp, when it's hot here in Georgia, the creek is a great place to cool off. Also swimming in it, and swimming in the pond, and the waterfall. All things that kids love about Wahsega. So I wanted to find out more about this Ward Creek. You know, I'm very curious. When I see a river or a creek, I always ask myself, where did it start? Wouldn't it be neat to like track it and find out where it starts? Or where does it end? I want to follow this creek. And we're going to do that today. This is going to be really exciting. So come with me on this journey and we'll learn more about this creek. Let's try to find where Ward Creek begins. Alright guys, we've been following this creek for a while and it's still pretty wide. I think this is going to take a while. We're like deep into the national forest now, away from Wahsega. We don't seem to be anywhere close. So this is, our little Ward Creek here is impressive. It's mightier than I thought. So, new plan. Let's go back, look at the map, figure out where it starts, and then go straight there. Okay. Came back, found a map. I got a good topographical map here, and I found Camp Wahsega on it with Ward Creek. And I looked on here and I followed it up, and it actually goes up right up to the Appalachian Mountains, which is just a few miles away. It seems like if I take Cooper Gap Road up to the top of the mountain, there's two spots up there where it starts. So now we're gonna go search for that. Almost to the top of the Appalachian Mountains, going up Cooper's Gap Road. And here, look at this little waterfall right here. Here is one of the streams that feeds into Ward Creek. Can you see up there at the top of the mountain? We're almost up there at the top. So any water or any springs that are right here in this mountain are gonna go down this stream under the road and feed into Ward Creek. Alright, we're up here on the top of the Appalachian Mountains in Georgia right now. This spot is called Cooper's Gap. You can see there's snow behind me, it's colder up here. There's even the Appalachian Trail runs right through here. So, this is where the watershed of Ward Creek starts. Any water that falls on this side and goes downhill, see, come this way. Any water like rainwater or springs that come up from underground will go downhill. And there's a steep incline right here. It goes down this hill and the creek starts right down there and goes to Wahsega. So this is the beginning of the watershed. Okay, now let's look the other way. Now we go on the other side of the mountain, right over here on the other side of this road. This is another watershed for the Etowah River. So any water that goes down here, and let's go this way. So on this side of the mountain, water that comes on this side is a different watershed. It goes to the Etowah River, which becomes the Ocoee River, which we go rafting in the summer, and empties into the Tennessee River, which goes all across the state of Tennessee, all the way into the Ohio River, which goes into the Mississippi River, down to the Gulf of Mexico. Ward Creek eventually ends up in Gulf of Mexico as well. So you see, this is an important point right here. Two totally different watersheds. This is where they meet. And this is another neat spot, because if we come this way, you can see the white blaze. You know what the white blaze is? This is the Appalachian Trail. So just imagine that. It goes all the way to Maine. Alright, you know another thing I always wonder? How is there so much water in this creek? You know, we went where it starts, and it's only a few miles away. It hasn't rained for a few days here. There's a lot of water in here. You know what the answer is? Springs. We have many springs in this area where water is naturally coming up out of the ground and joins the creek. Let me show you one we have right at Wahsega, right by one of the cabins. Here's one of the springs right here at Camp Wahsega. Look at this little trickle of water. That's actually pumping right out of the ground, right up there, and goes right into Ward Creek. And you know what's so neat is this little tiny creek here, it's such a perfect habitat for amphibians. We find salamanders, newts, toads, frogs, tadpoles around here all the time. And they actually like it better than the big stream because there's no fish here to eat them. Let me go show you where the spring is, where the water's coming up right out of the ground. Here's a spring head right at Camp Wahsega, and it feeds into Ward Creek. So there's hundreds of these just in this little area that are all feeding into Ward's Creek. And a little tiny little pond like this is great for amphibians. They even come and will mate here and produce their eggs. So come in a little closer, let me show you. We've got some wood frog eggs that have just appeared in the last week. Let me just like lift it up a little bit so you can see better. And come in a little closer. You see each little one has a little tadpole inside of it. Some of them have already started hatching, and the tadpoles have just started to come. Yeah, there's the eggs of wood frogs. Okay, now let's find out where Ward Creek goes. I'm just going to walk it down and follow the creek and see if I can find where it ends. Come with me. Such crystal clear water. I love it. Oh, I see the next river. It's the mighty Etowah. A nice ripple section. So this is the Etowah River. Clean, very crystal clear water of North Georgia. Home to many trout. Fishermen love to come here. We're in the middle of the national forest, so it's very pristine. There's not many sources of pollution around here. It begins this hundreds of miles journey to the Gulf of Mexico here. And it goes to many places after here. And think of all like the millions of people, plants, animals that will drink this water and live by this water. This is where it starts. Alright, what can you do to protect your waterway? There's two things. Number one is pick up any litter that you see. Like look around wherever you're at. There could be some. Oh, I see some. Oh my gosh. Ugh. This water is cold. But keep the litter out of the stream. Okay? Do that, please. And number two, take care of your banks along the streams. There's something called the Riparian zone. There are Riparian Buffer. That's very important. Okay, here I wanted to show you what's called a riparian zone or riparian buffer. This is a very important thing that you can do to help take care of a stream. See these plants and trees growing along the edge of the stream? That's the riparian buffer. If we have a big rainstorm and you get a lot of stormwater runoff going into the stream, that can carry pollutants, fertilizers, pesticides, or a lot of extra dirt. Having this riparian zone, all these plants here, will catch that and filter it out so it doesn't get into the water. Also provides shade, like the trees growing along the river. Like, look over on this side here. You see there's trees growing along the river that'll provide shade. Thank you for joining us for Wahsega Wednesdays. Come out here and see Wahsega for yourself.